Welcome, my friends. And when I say welcome, I mean welcome. Welcome to another Saturday of love and happiness. That's right, it's your boy, the PD Professor Malik, and I'm here to be your facilitator each and every week, every Saturday, as we navigate through this crazy world of Power Director and my Power Director curriculum. So today, I'm going to share with you the less is more mindset of video editing to help you create better content. Now, before we get started, I want to give some shout outs to some people who joined us today. You know how I do. So let's check out my people in the building real quick here. Let's see. We got Pollyanna's World. She said, ain't late this week. You know this girl. You made it on time. You was ahead of time, as a matter of fact. She said, but the next 3 Saturdays, she's going to be traveling around Tennessee with that tax refund check. Hey. She said, if I don't catch you any of these Saturdays, I'll watch the reruns. Hey, you know what, Pollyanna, you've always been a dedicated viewer. We appreciate the fact that you always coming through. Check us out. Let me fix this camera a little bit. Got a little bit of angle thing going on. I don't like, symmetry. Symmetry. I like to have that symmetry in my shots. All right. So let's see who else we got in the building today. We got Steve, head moderator in charge. The Limitless Wave says, hi, pretty Polly. Hey, you been, how you know she pretty? You been going to check her out? Watch yourself now there, Steve. All right. Pollyanna said hi to Steve. We got Odette Sharoni. She says, always a good Saturday with you, man. Blessing from Los Angeles. LA is in the building. One more again. My man, Sharoni Productions, is always in the building every Saturday, checking us out on these live streams. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for stopping through. All right. What else we got? What else we got right now? David Mabry, the road that beckons. Okay. He says, really looking forward to this topic. So much time is spent on the bells and whistles of PG. Yes. Good Lord. The bells and whistles coming through like a mofo. Less is more, my friends. We got my man, 50 grand. William Palanick in the building. He says, good morning, Malik. What's going on, William? Thank you. This is another one of those, 125% supporters. Not that all of you aren't. I know you all support me, and I thank you so much. But William's been here since day one, seems like. You know what I'm saying? Been here since the giddy up, for lack of a better term. So now that I've gone through all the pleasantries of saying hello to all of my people, let's jump into the topic. Like David Mabry said, let's talk a little bit about the less is more mindset. So that's not just a saying, all right? It's a video editing philosophy. So many beginners, and even some seasoned veterans kind of mess up by overusing too many effects, transitions. They over edit things. Sometimes they clutter up their timeline with a bunch of stuff. Less is more, and it is a great way to think about editing in the right context when you need it. So today, I'm going to go through some of the less is more mindsets and pass along a few tips to you guys. Now, this isn't the list, like the end all be all list of, of these things, but it is a great place to start. And it is definitely something that I think is important, at least the top 3 in my mind of some of the things that we want to do. But before I jump into all of that, I do want to jump into the results of a poll that I did on YouTube when I asked, what's the most overused tool in YouTube videos? All right. So let's go ahead and pull that up for you guys real quick. All right. So I asked on YouTube, what's the most overused tool in YouTube videos? So this could be with any editor. It doesn't even matter. It's just because what we're really talking about is the approach today, the mindset for editing. It's not only, when it comes to PowerDirector, it comes to editing and all. At all. So for YouTube videos, as you can see here, first place was transitions. 44% of people said that transitions were overused in YouTube videos. We got music at 23%. So 23% of people said that music is overused in YouTube videos. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because some people might say music is overused. Well, yeah, it is. Sometimes it is overused and people don't even realize it. I'm not even going to get into it right now. We'll get into the minutia of it in a minute. Third place was effects at 18%. And then other came in at 15%. So when you talk about other, there were a few comments on here. We got Commander DJ Burp, who said the YouTube algorithm, of course. I guess that is overused, but it's not overused in videos. I guess it's overused for videos, but hey, whatever the case may be, that was a pretty good joke that he threw out there. Sound speeds, my man Alan came through and he said, to me, it's when creators use unrelated video on the screen while explaining something. The worst is using game footage like Minecraft over an opinion talk about politics or something. It's completely stupid. That is just, I don't even understand what's going on with that. Like, there's no connection to the story. And that, we're going to talk about that a little bit, right? Like, your story might be something about politics. You're trying to talk about a point or whatever. It might not even be politics. It might be anything. It could be scuba diving. And they're showing them playing Call of Duty while they're talking about scuba diving. Like, why? What the heck is going on? Or they're talking about I don't know, a GPU, like a video card, and they're playing a game. Or if they're talking about the connection between the games, like I guess refresh rate or, you know, frames per second or whatever, then yeah, I can understand that. But otherwise, it's crazy. So great point by Sound Speeds, my man Alan coming through, you know, big time sound guy out there in the Georgia area. I mean, he's a big dude out there doing his thing. Appreciate you for stopping through and leaving that comment. Steve said, or Limitless Wave said, too many fonts, especially if they are artistic, often difficult to clearly read. Yeah, people just throwing different fonts out there to look different and add some spice. A lot of times when people add fonts, they need to be adding a font that is actually just a normal format. Like, go with something like normal or in the normal spectrum. It doesn't have to be the same as Arial or Calibri or Times New Roman. It could be like alternate Gothic that looks very much like that, or Impact, just a regular font. Sometimes that looks good, but doesn't need to like overdo it. Now, if you're trying to tell a story, you're trying to make the font fit, like if you're doing a video about pirates and you got something going across the screen and you want to use some type of old English font that kind of makes you think about a pirate, that makes sense. So once again, less is more, talking about the situation, things like that. When you just throwing fonts out there just for the heck of it, it has no connection to the story or what you're trying to say. That's what we're talking about here, right? So Limitless Wave also says spending too much time on a still image, keep the action flowing. Yeah, so basic guidelines for stuff like that, no more than 10 seconds, man. A lot of the times, depending on what you're doing, right, it's not always the case. But rule of thumb, 10-second rule. I go with that a lot. If you have to go over that because of information or you're trying to convey something, yes, of course. Every clip is not going to be 10 seconds. But when you talk about pacing and like keeping people engaged, those are important things. So having like a image on the screen for like anything over 10 seconds to me is just too much for an image. That's just my thought. Unless there's a connection to the story. Once again, there's always those outliers, or always those things that other things you need to consider too. And then Sharoni Productions jumped in. He said, too much transitions and speed ramps and all those rotating videos. Eventually, all the videos look the same. Just tell a simple story. Please. I mean, at the end of the day, when you create a good video that's telling a story, no one should be able to tell what video editing program you used, what you were doing. It should just be seamless, and they should be engaged in what you're trying to convey, the message, the story. Those types of things are what's important. And that, my friends, I got a lot of joy of reading some of the comments from this poll. I think the poll pretty much aligned with the topics I'm going to talk about today. So let's kind of jump into the magic and the mix of everything and make it happen, Captain. So the first topic that I want to talk about today is one that's near and dear to my heart, and that is let your content speak for itself, damn it. Okay? So you spend a whole bunch of time in pre-production. You're planning. You took the time that you took to get your shots, made sure that you had everything that you needed, everything set up for this video. and you got everything that you needed, and you did everything that you needed to do. After all of that hard work of making sure that you got everything put together, you got plans, you got all your shots, your angles, your everything. Why would you destroy your beautiful content, your clips, your footage by adding a bunch of unnecessary visuals, effects, transitions, fonts, whatever, titles to your hard work? There's no need for all of that. You did all the work that you need to do. Now let your content and your footage do the talking for you. You don't have to make effects or transitions of font to tell your story for you. Those aren't storytelling tools. They're navigation tools. They're movement to help you with your pacing and moving the story along. They don't tell the story. They do not speak to anyone, right? They are tools to enhance and help. So if you got clean and impactful visuals that are valuable and powerful tools, that's all you need. So the more time that you spend in your production, shooting, creating beautiful footage, the less time you're going to need to tweak it with effects and all kinds of other garbage, as far as I'm concerned, right? We don't need all of that. You need good, clean footage, and you need a story so that you can match that footage to the story that you're trying to tell, right? So your footage should always be the main attraction for showcasing your story. So think about this. If I'm trying to tell a story right now and I'm talking to you right now and I have an effect go across the screen while I'm talking, you're going to be distracted. Why the hell would I have an effect right now while I'm trying to tell you something that's vitally important and I'm trying to convey a message to you? I don't understand why people just throw effects on the screen. Like I see videos about people trying to showcase their products and things like that, and they got all these effects and stuff going on. I'm like, what the don't you want to showcase your product? Why are you throwing all these effects on everything? It's distracting. So effects, transitions, things like that, they can take away from your story. So do you want your viewers focusing on a cool effect that's going to be there for 3 seconds? Or do you want them to be invested in your story, your product, your review, or whatever it is that you're trying to teach them about so that they want to watch more, right? They ain't going to want to watch more if you're just distracting them with all of these effects and stuff. They're going to be like, what the hell is going on? So remember, your footage should be the main attraction, right? Also, when it comes to letting your content speak for itself, your primary focus should be using your footage to create a strong story. All right. So when you're in pre-production, you're planning everything. Think about the story that you want to tell and plan your shots. Okay. That will help you tell your story. If you're able to create a list of shots that truly tell the viewers what you want them to know, you won't feel the need when you're editing to add effects, to add titles, because you will actually start to see like, wow, this is really coming together as a value added video or production, whatever you're doing, when you have your shots and they're all in the editing program and you're able to look at them. So also, if you don't know what a project brief is, a project brief is basically a list of all the stuff that you need to happen on a project. And usually that's given to editors to help them understand what the producer and the director and things want to see. So if you do, or if you're in a situation where you have a project brief, then use that to edit and look at the details of what you want to make, the music you should use, the transitions you want to use, the cuts, the type of cuts that you're going to use instead of transitions. All of those things in the project brief will help to bring your story together and create the emotions, so you don't have to worry about adding all this extra gobbledygook and junk to it. So the only thing I want to say about PowerDirector on this subject that I used to really like about PowerDirector is, and you can still kind of do things to help with this. PowerDirector used to actually have a storyboard mode, and they got rid of it. The storyboard mode helped you just organize your clips and your footage and put them together where it was just like a thumbnail view of all of your clips, so you can put them in the order of the story. It doesn't trim anything for you. It doesn't do any of that. But a tool that PowerDirector still has is you have a pre-cut where you can trim things in your in the actual preview window or the media window where you can trim things there, so you can kind of do that. But the storyboard mode is something I used to love, and if you like the storyboard mode too, leave a comment out there. Let's talk a little bit about this. So let your content speak for itself, people. All right. So let's see here. We got any comments on this subject right now, Walanda, that we want to bring through? Let me know. Let me know. All right, there go my girl. She coming through. All right, let's go to these comments real quick. 10 seconds of the lifetime in the video. Yeah. David Mabry, like 10 seconds is long. It is long. And that's like the 10-second rule. That's you don't want to go past 10 seconds. And 10 seconds could be too long for an image, right? I'm just saying, the conversation that you're having could draw you into that 10-second time. You really don't want to go over that. That's a long time in watching the video. So the 10-second rule is what I apply. If I'm looking at something, this image is on the screen for more than 10 seconds, I'm like, do I really need to have this? Should I have switched to something else at 4 seconds or 5 seconds? Like 10 seconds is a long time. So the 10-second rule, once you get there, you should start evaluating and seeing if that's something you still want to do. Steve Williams, my man Steve said, in general, sans serif fonts should be used for headings and serif fonts for main body of text, as they are generally easier to read. Great point. So those are the easiest ones to read. Make it clear on the screen for you. I gave an example of a few specific fonts, but like he said, if you get into the sans serif family of fonts, there's a lot of different fonts in that family. Those are the ones that are best to use. Sharoni Productions, Sharoni said, maybe I'm an old school guy, but today the story is a transition and the effects. Most of the videos are focused on those. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you're an old school guy or if we just got a bunch of people now who have access to the tools. So put it to you like this. What I mean by this is this. I'm from the old school, like, and Sharoni Productions, you probably are too. Steve, a lot of people out there from the old school, where when we started making videos, everybody just didn't get into making videos. Everybody didn't have one of these, right? Everybody didn't have access to the equipment. Everybody couldn't afford it, or they just didn't know what to do with it, or they were intimidated by it because it was considered professional. So when we started making videos and things like that, like it was a niche, very limited niche. Anybody today could pick this mofo up and start making a video. And because of that, in my opinion, they just start doing whatever the heck they see. They're mimicking everyone else. And that's not a good practice because they're not taking the time to learn how to create an effective video, tell an effective story, and use the right tools. They see a bunch of videos, like you said, out there with a bunch of transitions and effects, and they just like, well, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. They do the same thing because they're new at this and they don't really know. Now, a lot of people grow into editing and creating videos, and they grow into it in time. So some people have transitioned from noobs to pros or intermediates or whatever you want to call them. But a lot of the videos that we see out there right now, because YouTube and phones and all kinds of so easy to access, are pretty watered down, in my opinion. Dave, hey, what's going on, Dave? Thanks for jumping on the live stream, my friend. He said, I practice a lot with stock video footage as I improve my skills. When looking for inspiration, I often find a stock music file I like that helps create an idea in my brain pan. That's a great practice right there. I'll put it to you like that. Like, you don't have to use the stock images or whatever, but a good thing to do, and a lot of people who edit videos and make videos do, is they compare and watch other good things. Stock footage in most cases, depending on who's providing it, is high quality because they want people to buy it or use it. So if you can find a lot of good stock footage out there and you compare, say, hey, that's a good looking shot, that's a good looking angle, those are things that you start to use and say, damn, I want to create a shot like that. I want to create that motion. I want to pan. I want to use a dolly. I want to use a jib, whatever it is to create this next shot. Like, those are great ways of examples. Even watching movies, sit back and watch a good movie and notice what is happening as they tell the story. A lot of those things are good practices for videos that you make in the future. So great point, Dave. Appreciate that, my man. All right. Pollyanna said, I loved the storyboard mode. I do miss it. I do too. I'm like, you bums. How dare you? You know, it just happens, man. There's a lot of changes. Hey, Peter, it's all good, man. Good afternoon, my friend. Thank you, man. You look, I'm gonna give you a pass, bro. You ain't hardly ever been late in your life for anything that I'm aware of. So I appreciate you, man, and always thanks for stopping through. All right, let's get into number 2. Numero dos on my less is more list of things. And that is effective use of transitions and cuts. I think Sharoni Productions is already on board with this one. All right. So when people are watching your video, the one thing you don't want them to do is stop watching, right? So you want to keep those watch hours. You want people engaged. You want them to watch a video. Now, when you confuse your viewers with useless transitions and horribly placed cuts that don't help move the story along, right? You can use transitions if you're using them in the right way. If you can use cuts if you're using them in the right way to move the story along, then they tend to get overwhelmed. Like it's too much stuff going on, too much switching, too much jumping back and forth. This crazy transition just spun out and did this and did that, right? That makes people stop watching. They're like, you know what? I'm done. This I'm dizzy. All these transitions, rotations, brother dizzy. Okay. So transitions and cuts should be used to help with pacing. Pacing sets the tone and mood of your video. So if you're not aware of that, start thinking about the tone, the mood, and how your transitions and cuts impact the pace of the video. Like if you add a sharp cut at one point, you can just throw off the pace of the video completely. If it's an action thing and you're jumping from sharp cut from thing, that probably makes sense because you're jumping from place to place, different action happening there. It might make sense, right? Depending on the situation. But pacing is the key in mood. Pacing and mood are the keys to like using transitions and cuts effectively. So I'm going to share with you a few of my favoritos, just because, you know, from PowerDirector, there are a few transitions that I like to use. Don't mean you got to use them. Don't mean you might not like to use them. I mean, it is what it is, bro. But I want to share a few transitions that I like to use. So if you have some transitions that you use on a regular basis for different types of videos and things, then you can just, if you're in your transitions and you like find yourself using a transition a lot, if you hover over a transition, you can click on the little heart and that will add it to your favorites. Now, I don't have a lot of transitions in my favorites because I don't use a lot of transitions. I use simple transitions and I try to use them at the right time to create the pace that I want and to create the mood at that time in the video. Mostly what I like to use are cuts. It depends on the situation once again, but if I find that I could use a good cut, then I use it. And these are the transitions though that I like to use right here. So the first one here is called cross. So if you hover over it, you can see what a cross transition does. And that's what it looks like in the preview screen. That is a cross transition, right? So with a cross transition, really it's more of a sharp transition used for dramatic changes like jumps, time jumps, things like that. So when I'm using a cross, I try to use it for something in that space. Now, you might use it for something different. There's just a few examples of how I might use a cross. And based on the situation, I might use a cross transition differently, but I don't use it that often, just to be true with you. The main transition that I use, if I use a transition, is called a fade. A simple fade from one shot to the next shot. Like, not really much to it. Now, fade is a transition that's used to blend scenes together. So if I want to seamlessly blend a scene from one place to another, show that maybe multiple things are happening simultaneously, go from something that happened in this one scene to another, you might use a fade transition in that circumstance, right? So that's why I might use fade. Now, This other transition on here is called shift. So I have this in my favorites because I use this in some of my tutorials. So some of you might have seen this in like the demo of a lot of my tutorials. So if you're looking at that, I use it to change perspective of the viewer. So if I'm talking about like let's say I did a tutorial recently about karaoke or whatever. I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but I made a tutorial about it was about removing the vocals or removing the music from or removing the vocals or the instruments from a song. So when I did that, I started off on my demo and I showed someone singing singing a cappella, right? And then I switched it. And when I used this transition, I showed somebody singing karaoke at a party. Like you might remove the the vocals so that someone could do karaoke, right? So I use this to kind of shift between different perspectives of things. And the last one I wanted to share with you is I use zoom in, zoom out. So this transition, pretty much I use this like an energetic type of videos, like to go from like one energetic scene to another one, kind of like jumping from thing to thing, keeping the pace fast and keeping it moving really, like I said, a lot of energy in it. I might use this zoom transition because it seems very energetic as we go from one thing to the next one. Bam, bam, you're coming in and you're going. So this might be a transition that I use for something like that. So if you take nothing else away from this conversation I'm having right now, is you can see that transitions should be used with purpose, right? Transitions should not be used for something that, you just throwing it out there, whatever. As I talk through each one of the 4 transitions that I have in my favorites, you can leave it open. You can leave it open, babe. Don't worry about it. I mean, you're still going to hear. My wife answered the door. I'm sure y'all heard the doorbell. Bing, bong. So anyway, so basically, when you look at transitions, like I was saying, there needs to be purpose. They need to be purposeful when you're using them. And they need to help with the pace and the mood of what you're doing. So make sure that when you're using them, keep that in mind. Now, to be truthful with you, in my humble opinion, like I said earlier, I'm not really big on transitions. I'm big on using cuts. And sometimes you're just better off using cuts instead of transitions. If you notice, most movies that you see out there, and there's movies, when you talk about professional, high quality, they're spending a big budget, they want them to look good. Most movies that you watch use cuts. Now, some use transitions from time to time, like in the old Star Wars movies, you might see a transition of like a wipe, go from one screen, one place in the galaxy to another place in the galaxy, right? But it kind of makes sense that they decided to use that wipe there, right? It was purposeful when they did it. But most movies, in most places, you just cut from scene to scene. So cuts are vitally important to me, and they're what I like to use the majority of the time because different types of cuts create different types of pacing and moods. So a quick cut creates a sense of urgency. It can help maintain the energy in the video. Like I was talking earlier, like most action movies like The Avengers, John Wick, Alien, they leverage quick cuts instead of transitions to maintain the sense of urgency and the intensity in those scenes. You don't see like an Alien, them going from if they're like a scene where the alien is attacking somebody, you don't see them transition with a wipe to the next screen. They just cut from the alien in your face to the alien being behind you or whatever the case may be. They use quick cuts to maintain urgency and intensity. Longer cuts that establish they might have somebody in a scene and then those cuts kind of drag out because there's not much movement or much things going on. Longer cuts are great for emotional and reflective moments. Somebody sitting there thinking, they haven't moved, right? Then eventually it cuts to someone else looking or thinking or walking down the street. So you'll notice longer cuts in things like Bridgerton, Good Girls, Netflix shows I can think of right now. Binge Day. Saturday's binge day, people. And then you got some of my favorite cuts, like L cuts and J cuts. So L cuts and J cuts kind of emphasize critical moments and draw attention where it's needed. So An L cut or a J cut might have like, you might hear the audio of someone speaking, but it might show somebody walking into a drugstore because this guy's gonna rob the place. But you hear the guy speaking to the guy at the counter, right? So that could be an L cut or a J cut, depending on which one comes first, the audio or the visual, right? So conversations while something else is going on, those are great use of pacing as well to help move your story along. Now, if you don't know, I do also have a video out there that can help you out a lot when it comes to these different types of cuts. If you're not familiar with them, let me go ahead and share this video real quick that I have here. So if you're not familiar with cuts, there's a video I have out here. It's called 6 Cuts All Video Editors Must Know. So it doesn't matter which version of PowerDirector you have, these editing cuts are going to apply regardless of what version of PowerDirector you're using, because they're industry standard editing cuts that anyone can use in any video, and you can do them using PowerDirector, any version you got. So if you're not familiar with the different types of cuts that I was talking about, I go over them in this video. I show them to you. I show you how to do them. I talk about when they're useful. So check this out. 6 cuts all video editors must know in PowerDirector. Now, that being the case, I'm going to go back to the wifey, see if she got some comments for us in this conversation. All right, Steve Williams says, I can highly recommend the Learn Online Video YouTube channel as he produces some great stuff and specifically focuses on mobile usage. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, man. Everybody go check that out. Learn Online Video. Learn Online Video. It's a great channel. If you're not on it, get on it, because they're teaching you all type of great topics that you can learn about to help you if you're a beginner and you want to start to step your game up. So appreciate that, Steve. See what else we got. Wade Stevens, what's going on, Wade? Thanks for joining us, my man. He says, hi, Malik. Watching. What's out there to see what resonates with you as a filmmaker is a great school to go to. Well, I mean, I think that, like he said, a minute ago that Steve brought up, Learn Online Video is a great place. Think Media is a great place on YouTube. If you got the money and the time, film school, even though some people come out of film school and say, hey, I learn more just doing, and I learn more being on YouTube, watching videos. I think if you have the time and the money and you want to really learn, going to a simple film school is going to give you the foundation and the tools and the understanding of the tools and how to use them that you need to have. I didn't go to film school myself, but I know a lot of people who did, and I interact with them on a regular basis. And I learn from those people and they learn from me. So I think that's another great option out there. Wade Stevens says, a fade in filmmaking is called a dissolve. Yes, sir. That is exactly what it is. It took me a while to figure out when I started using PowerDirector. I finally figured out what I have always called a dissolve is a fade in PowerDirector. This is correct, sir. Dave says, wise advice, Wade Stevens. Stand on the shoulders of the masters like those of our host. Thank you. Okay, Dave Maybe the road that Becky says, can you define quick cut? Is that a cut between short clips? Yes. So a quick cut would be a cut between short clips, whereas a long cut would be like an establishing moment where you would normally cut, but you extend that out maybe 4 or 5 seconds and then cut. That's a long cut, right? There's nothing happening. You're just in this one space. It might be somebody like this thinking, and then you cut to something else. So that's the difference. It's the time between the cuts. Good question, sir. Pollyanna said, I learned from all the great people who make these tutorials. Yes, we got a whole bunch of great tutorial makers out there, man. YouTube is filled with a bunch of people who do a lot of great stuff, man. For real, for real. Peter said, we have a saying here in the UK, you can't get a year's experience in less than 12 months. The moral, nothing else matches experience. Get out there, shoot video, then edit it. Nothing. And that is in life, Peter, right? Like, no matter what you do, the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. The longer you do it, the more you do it. I mean, if you try to do something and keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, then that's probably like the exception to the rule. Because if you're not changing, you're not learning, right? If you're not trying different things, you're not learning. So definitely, if the more you get out there and do it, the more you try to do it differently, the more you come up with, you learn different tools and things, the better you're gonna get. That's all. That's the key. Odette Sharon said, I went to film school and honestly, I learned online much more than at the university. Yeah, I hear that a lot, man, from a lot of people that went to film school. Like I kind of alluded to, like some people feel like you went to film school and you learn more from watching YouTube and looking online at stuff. I still think, and you might agree with me, you might not, that the foundation was laid for you in film school, but you probably got better and learned from doing and looking at more things out there to help you get better. So I would definitely think that those are some of the advantages of online versus going to film school. So thank you, sir. All right. So, last comment on here. Pollyanna said, learning from mistakes is a great teacher. Who you telling? Okay. I can get into a whole video about the mistakes that I've made and learned from, and I will never do again. And I'm pretty sure that most of you out there have the same or similar story. So it is what it is. All right. All right. We got jump into the third and final topic here because it's important, man. So a lot of people, or not a lot of people, just some people sometimes just don't think about this next topic that I'm going to talk about. And to me, it's crazy, uber important. And that's the strategic use of music. Please, people, please stop just throwing any kind of old song over any old video, throwing it wherever, and not thinking about the placement of the music and what's happening when you're playing the music. Oh my God. Okay. People don't understand how much they're destroying their content by just plastering music every and anywhere without really thinking about the story, the pace, the mood. All of those things come into play when we talk about music. So, as you all know, I ain't telling nobody something that's new to them on this thing, that audio is a critical part of your videos. All right. Determining when and when not to add music is also an important decision for every single video that you make. Okay. Music is a powerful storytelling tool. Don't get it twisted. Music can elevate your emotions. They can, bring you up, bring you down. They can make you feel triumphant. They can do all types of great things. Music is a vital tool when you use it right. Okay. So, as far as my thoughts on music, it sets the tone. Music is a tone setter for your scene. It can determine if your scene's joyful, if it's suspenseful, if it's something that's inspirational happening. Just imagine if you are the scary part of a movie and they played like circus music. That wouldn't really make sense, would it? You got to make sure that you're creating the right type of mood and you're setting the tone for your scene. Like an uplifting melody would create hope. So I don't know if you guys remember, there's a movie called Any Given Sunday. And there was a part in that movie where Jamie Foxx is the star. He plays this quarterback on this team that's not really doing too well. And he's on the bench. They decide to put him in for the first time. And the first time they put him in, he gets out there and he does phenomenal. And while he's out there playing football and doing his thing and killing it, they're playing Queen, We Will Rock You at the same time. It is like a great moment in that movie. It just feels triumphant. It feels like this guy who wasn't given a chance gets out there and rocks the freaking world with his football play. And I'm getting tangles right now thinking about it. It was a great part of that movie. The music helped to create that feeling. Eerie sounds. Eerie sounds can cause tension. Anybody out there recognize this sound? If you don't know what movie that's from, you probably ain't seen a thriller movie or a scary movie in many, many years. This movie is they got the most like sequels to this movie of probably any movie in the history of the world besides maybe Star Wars. But Friday the 13th, that sound is a connection to tension, terror, and just making you feel like I'm about to close my eyes and turn my head right now because something's going to happen, right? This is what music does for you. But placing the right music at the right time is the key, or the right sound effect at the right time is the key. So, well placed music amplifies your emotions. Horribly placed music confuses the crap out of people. And if it's the wrong type of song, if it's placed in the wrong place, you start to, the connection is not there, right? Like, if you're putting music, a lot of times I see a lot of this on YouTube videos, man. People will place music just to fill space in a scene. I'm like, why are you playing the song right now? Because you ain't got nothing to say. You ain't got no story to tell. There's nothing happen. I'm still bored. I mean, putting music over this footage of nothing happening, of you walking through a thing, it's still boring. Like, sorry if anybody has done that. Sorry. But you got to place the music in the right place in the right time. It's just not a space filler for you. So sometimes even like people put music when dialogue should be placed there. And sometimes you need dialogue without music. It could be a powerful storyteller when you're out there and you're having a conversation about something, you're explaining things, you're talking through things. Dialogue is what moves stories, not music. Just place wherever the hell you want to put it. And once again, we want to talk about pacing, man. When I think about music, it helps with pacing. Like slow music might be a reflective scene, something that you're doing out there. So imagine a movie like Steel Magnolias playing rock and roll during one of the emotional discussions that they have in the movie. You'd be like, what the hell is this happening right now? You want to use slow music for that because they're having an emotional, reflective discussion on things. Energetic tracks, they're going to drive that momentum, right? So imagine watching or imagine switching like songs in a movie. Like, I don't know, like let's say like in Rocky, there's a part of Rocky where they play the eye of the tiger, and Rocky's out there working out, doing this thing. Imagine if they played, and I will always love you. I'm trying, y'all. I know my voice. Me. Okay, I'm trying. But imagine they switching those two songs at that time in the movie. Like the pacing is gonna be off. It's gonna be jacked the hell up, right? You gotta make sure that the music matches the pace of what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do, right? So pairing the right music with the right scene, even like with the right transition and the right cut, it creates more powerful moments, and it creates great pacing that helps the audience stay engaged, and it helps them want to watch more of your video. So that's me. I got those things. Less is more. Less is more. So the 3 topics I touched on today. Let your content speak for itself. All right. Stop throwing all this extra jazz on stuff that you don't need. Effective use of transitions and cuts. Okay. Make sure that you're using the right transitions. I went over a few transitions, talked about transitions, cuts, how to use them, when to use them. Make sure you're using them right. And then last but not least, the last topic I just talked about, strategic use of your musica. Make sure that you're using it the right way, the right time to help you tell your story. All right. So those are the 3 topics that we wanted to talk about today. So let's see what kind of conversations we got going on in the comment section. All right, Ode Sharoni said, I spend most of the time searching for the right track. I'm always listening to new stuff and build my music library. I always say this, man. A lot of people complain about like the fluff and PowerDirector. Like, why are you putting all these songs on here? And all these transitions and all of these fonts and stuff like that. To your point, Sharoni Productions, I'm just like, the more options I have, the better. Music, I might not use all the music that they want to push to me or whatever. That's cool. I don't have to download all of it. I can listen to it, look for it, find the right music for my situation. But the more options I have, the better off I'm going to be. It gives me more flexibility in creating. If I'm looking for a specific type of song, or you got the AI music generator. So if you got some credits and you want to look for, like, you want to create a song that fits the mood, the tempo that you're looking for and the style that you're looking for, you can create it with the AI music generator too. So don't forget to check out my tutorial on that as well. Great tutorial I put out there. It's coming out soon at a YouTube channel near you. All right. Steve Williams said, I use a lot of rock style music for faster flowing videos, whilst when using something slower like drone footage, that needs to be much slower and tranquil. Perfect example, right? Like, that's the perfect example of how to look at the footage that you're creating and think about the pace you want to create because of the story that you're telling. I mean, unless you're like going through and doing a fast, like shooting through and doing like some, I don't remember what they're called. Like, there's drones out there that do like racing and stuff like that. Maybe for that one you might use some rock music, but for like, you're showing a beautiful landscape and you're gliding over a picturesque like horizon or something. Yeah, you want to have the right slow, tranquil music that matches what you're trying to do and creates the pace and the mood that you want your viewer to be able to be part of and be engaged in. Great point. What else we got? Oh, Color Heave said, you're preaching now, brother. Misplaced music happens in a major motion pictures too. Yeah, you right. I mean, it happens everywhere. I mean, you you can look at any type of video, movie, whatever, and you're like, what the hell was this like team thinking when they decided, they put the project brief together and they said they want to use this music or this song in this. As an editor should have probably went back and said, hey, this ain't, I understand that this is what you want to hear right now, but it doesn't fit this scene, or it doesn't fit the mood. It doesn't help move the story along. So maybe the editor should have gave some pushback on that. Maybe they did. And they just said, nope, this is what we want to use. So yeah, Color Heave, I mean, anything could be jacked up all to be damned. What else we got? David Mabry said, if your scene doesn't have commentary or dialogue, should you use music, or is the silence okay? It depends. Okay. I think a lot of people look at that and say, well, there's silence here. I need some filler. Right. I think that when we look at, I think going back to the story I was telling earlier, like when we look at like videos out there, everybody's kind of doing the same thing that someone else is doing. And they're out there creating based on what other people see. I would tell you, David, that it depends on the type of video that you're doing. If I'm doing a video where maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's something scary, right? And it might be the beginning. Maybe I'm not ready to put the sound in yet. Maybe it's somebody walking through the woods, but all I want to hear is their feet walking through the grass or crackling leaves or whatever, right? A sound effect. Maybe that's something that needs to be put in there, right? Rather than putting music in at that time. If you're doing just a YouTube video and you just complete silence and you don't want to put sound effects in there and you want some filler, people are doing that. That's what people are doing. I don't think it's always right. I think that sometimes when I look at some of those videos, I'm like, why aren't you telling a story of what you're doing right now? Why aren't you talking about what you're walking through and what you're seeing? Why don't you just create some audio after the fact of the video and tell us the importance of where you're going, what you're doing, or whatever is happening at this point, right? Explain that to us. Like right now, as a viewer, you're leaving it up to me to interpret whatever the hell I want to interpret is going on, right? Continue to tell the story. I think that there's opportunity for you to add, when there's silence, add dialogue instead of music sometimes. Sometimes it's right to add music. Depends on what's happening. Steve says music should be used to complement, not to distract. Perfect point. So that might be like, hey, there's nothing happening right now and I have no dialogue. Let me just throw some music in there. That might be a distraction. right? Whereas to me, you add value by adding some dialogue to that. Maybe a voiceover of something might be more pertinent than adding music. It depends. Peter says that's why Epidemic Sound give the beats per minute in the spec of all their music for exactly this reason. You can also search by type, as in commercial, advertisement, etc. Yep, it's great to be able to look at the different styles, the tempo, beats per minute, right, that you have of your music to be able to tell, like, hey, what would this fit, right? And even when you start talking too about sometimes editing, when you're creating your cuts and you're adding your transitions, sometimes the music drives how you edit your video as well, based on the type of video that you're making and what you're doing. So, great point, Peter. You can't what? Did you mess up something? My wife done jacked up the whole thing. Look, she over here trying to give me the iPad for the comments. She over here laughing. It ain't funny. You messing up my production, girl. You over there, you trying to multitask. See, this is what happens when your comment person tries to multitask all the damn time. She trying to play Monopoly Go. She over there helping wash clothes. She making biscuits. I'm like, you supposed to be commenting. I asked for 1 hour from you. I love that girl. Love you, babe. Thank you for helping me. Appreciate ya. Odesh Sharoni said, I recommend Epidemic Sound. Most of my music choice coming from them. I've only heard good things about them. Well, I can't say only, but mostly. I've mostly heard good things about Epidemic Sound. You got to keep in mind that anybody that offers royalty-free music, sometimes you hear stories about like having things that are stale, or the library is just way too big and hard to find things. But from what I've heard about Epidemic Sound, is they're very good at helping you to find the type of music that you're looking for. Like you said, beats per minute, the genre, the mood, all of those things. It does a really good job of helping to filter down to the types of music, and then letting you go through and easily preview the music so that you can pick and choose what you want. So have heard mostly good things about Epidemic Sound, definitely. Odesh Shironi, or Dave said, Odesh Shironi, same here regarding music track selection. All right. All right. So for those of you who don't know, there was just a few new things that came out with the PowerDirector over the last few the last few weeks. Just want to share with you real quick a few things on here. So I'm giving y'all a look at my YouTube studio one more again. I know y'all get tired. Y'all all got one. Y'all all seen it before. All right. So as you guys know, I like to tell you guys that I'm always trying to have like 3 to 4 videos in the can. All right. So you can see I got 3 videos scheduled to be released here. And one of them was on a new feature, image to video AI. If you haven't seen that video, it's pretty dope. I like the feature a lot. If you want to use a image to create some standard type of videos from them, it's a cool thing to do. Now I do also have some other videos that just came out, but these 3 that are actually here are scheduled. Keep in mind, if you are a member of my channel, a member of PowerDirector University, then you can see these videos right now. Anyone who's not a member cannot see these videos, because if you're a member, let's say if you're a member of the highest tier, it's called the Booyaka tier. If you're a member of the highest tier, then you get to see all of these videos as soon as I upload them, while other people have to wait until the date that they're scheduled to come out. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Keep that in mind. If you're interested, jump on board, hang out with your boy, get some additional content before all of the other viewers out there. Another quick thing, if you guys have not hit the like button already, click that like button. Make sure that you hit it, click it, like it, live it, love it, hug it. You know, the thumb that's pointed in the upward direction. Get down and hit that button for me, people. Like this video. It tells other people that the content's good, and helps to get me out there with the algorithm and things like that. Okay. And of course, if at any time you guys can, please hit me up with a super chat or a super sticker to help support the channel. It really helps me continue to create the content that I do for you. All right. So Peter says, different industries have different choices. Motorcycle vloggers seem to gravitate towards epidemic sound. Others gravitate towards art list. Yeah. I mean, to each his own. Wade Steven says, what you're saying about music usage is spot on, but it can be used as a contradiction or counterpoint to the visuals. That can be done in comedy, and it's usually done ironically. I agree with you, Wade. I mean, I think I talked about that a little bit earlier when I was on another topic, is that it depends on the situation, right? Definitely. If you're creating like a certain type of video and you want to create that contradiction, then the music can help you do that. Definitely. Peter says, I use both. So he used Epidemic and Artlist. And David said, did they change the pan zoom function, or is it just my computer acting up? The last I used it, they didn't look like it changed per se. So let me pull it up and see. You won't be able to see the window pop up for it, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see. It acts like it don't want to come on the screen. That's for sure. There it goes. Huh. Apply a motion style to the selected photo. Maybe this is because it's a photo. Let's go to advanced and see if it pops up the window. Yep. Advanced overlay tool pops up when you click on that. Let's try this with a video and see what happens instead. Let's see what happens if we add a video. And we go to edits. Okay. Yeah. Pan and zoom. No, it's the same, brother. Looks the same to me. For images, it looked a little different to me, but it might have been because I haven't used it on an image in a while. But it looks like the pan and zoom feature is the same. Yep, it's the same. All right. So, y'all know what time it is. It's time for me to get the hell on out of here. I got people all around me in my house acting crazy, people washing their clothes and stuff. I don't know what's happening right now. But as you guys know, I appreciate you guys for stopping through as usual. I think it was a great conversation today. I appreciate you guys' time today. Always loving the community, loving the family, coming through and hollering at your boy during the live stream every Saturday. You know what I'll be, unless I'm out there chilling with my wife somewhere, okay? So thank you guys for joining. Peace. See you later.